this isn't your normal podcast, like ones parents listen to while they're driving to work or driving kids to school in the morning. My podcast will probably be filmed after school hours, probably around maybe Fridays, maybe Saturdays. But other than that, this podcast has some pretty wonderful things that we're going to talk about. In the next, after this introduction, we're going to be talking about a really popular Netflix TV show being canceled. We all hate when our favorite TV shows get canceled. That's what we're going to be diving into after this introduction. Sure, we have a family member, maybe a friend, a cousin, a school friend, maybe a teacher who likes watching TV a lot, maybe likes playing video games, even though some teachers don't know how to play video games. Not talking about all teachers, but some teachers. But to be honest, it's really disappointing when we find out our favorite TV shows are canceled, especially if we have to wait a whole other week to watch them. So, this was research from a few months ago. So, I was looking on Google. Of course, my favorite TV show is a spin-off of the originals in the Vampire Diaries, which is Legacies. And there was a different podcast that I listened to. It was mentioned in the podcast that since there was a costume designer in the podcast for the actual TV show itself. That costume designer, I think, mentioned something along the lines, if the show wasn't canceled, they'd probably mention the God of Time, since the costumes for the God of Time were made. Kronos, Titan of Time. I always say the God of Time, which is confusing, since I do write books a lot based off the actual spin-off show, which sometimes those books get a little confusing because I have 5 different ones, but they're totally unrelated to so many things. It's so confusing. But in the actual myth, Kronos is the Titan of Time. If you ever read Greek myths or Roman myths, since Roman and Greek are the same thing almost, but different names, different cultures, different styles, of course. Believe me. We learn about the Roman Empire, of course, which will be in the next episode, if I have time to, of course, since I'm very busy this week and stuff. A lot of good things happening, of course. So back to the subject of the TV show that was canceled. One of my favorites, personally. Never been into supernatural dramas, but growing up, I feel like I've changed a bit. TV genres, So basically, I was listening to that podcast, like they mentioned, they called Kronos the God of Time, which I thought was totally wrong, since if you read Greek myths, once again I'll say it, if you've ever read Greek myths, they call Kronos the Titan of Time, not the God of Time, since gods are the children of Kronos. Kind of confusing and stuff. Wanted to go a little bit off topic of what I was actually talking about. I promise in the next part of this, we'll be getting to one of the most favorite subjects that I personally like, which is talking about the Roman Catholic Church, the Empire, the Roman Empire to be specific. Maybe we'll get to mythology talk when I find some good articles I can elaborate. Thanks for listening. I'm glad to be your podcast host. Have a good night, afternoon, day. Bye.